Hi everyone, this is Lynn Schnebley with Educating with Wisdom, and I am the ambassador for Heaven's Creating and Protecting Goddesses and Archangels over Life. I'm sorry it's a little dark in here. There's only one light going on. Today we're looking at 2020 just arrived. I told you so. And are the LGBT and African American terrorists involved in the Middle East right now? So we're going to take a look at not just the Middle East, but we're also going to take a look at the Ukraine. A few days ago, we had another downing. Fast prayer. Dear Heavenly Mother, Father, please help me to say this in a most expeditious fashion. And Jesus, please look after my words. In your holy name, I pray. Jesus. Okay. Oh, I found the name of Hashem. Hashem's name is Hava. Interesting. The hurrying goddess. So let's go on, and that is also, they have written in their documents, that is also Adonai Zedek, which is another word for Jupiter. And I've been saying Jupiter is feminine all along. So let's come by and take a look at the downing, what's going on in the Middle East right this minute. What's been going on for some time. I've been saying for some time that Meghan Markle is with Barack Obama. It is part of the grand African movement, and the LGBTQ, they all work together. I am not exonerating England in any way, shape, or form, but they've been involved in witchcraft for a while, and it's actually become more of a major religion in England at this time. Let me just go in and begin to show you my evidence, okay? I have online already the role, when I did a call out to expose who these people were, the downing of the 737 MAX. So in 2018, in October the 20th, 2018, there was an introduction of miracles. They actually broke into the powers that be, broke into what I was tape recording and put Russian deal along the bottom, kept it there every time I went back. And then I was able to show you how Meghan Markle was the lamb with the dragon's mouth found in Revelation 13. The dragon has to do with the red dragon of England. And she was basically usurping the powers of Kate and William. What I didn't realize, and I kind of thought something had happened, England is now saying, you know what, we can't really have our deal with North America and with the United States anymore. And that was a deal that was made in 2010. And of course, that deal was with Barack Obama. So my job is to help bring Australia, New Zealand, into Canada, free that space up for China, and then help augment what's happening with England into that center part of North America, and then connect that along the northern kingdoms. My other part of my job is to help look after what's going on in the Latin countries. This also includes China. So I've got a lot of things on, but we're dealing specifically with the LGBTQ. On the 20th, that came up on my screen. 2 days later, the pipe bombs began. And the pipe bombs began with Mr. Sayak, I guess that's his name. Many of the pictures that are online of him are photoshopped. Most of his mugshots, he doesn't even look directly into the camera. There's some there that's absolutely plastic looking of him. Let me explain something about them saying that he's at these rallies. If you look at the rally pictures, he's photoshopped for some of those rally pictures. I pointed this out online. The other thing that goes on with him is that male dancers, which is what he had been, besides a bodybuilder, people that are male dancers that travel around, they're not conservative. They're not part of a conservative political party. they tend to be quite liberal, and many male dancers that travel around the way he did show up at gay bars. So I do think he has a few attachments to this area. Um, then, as soon as that happened as soon as I did this thing. I went I called the Democrats, it's on my phone log. I went to the Republican Party and I said, you know, this really feels like Barack Obama and the Democrats. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's conservative, and it really feels like it's this other thing. Now what's going to happen is interesting with the Democrats because it's on my telephone log, and this is being submitted with my case, which everybody's waiting for me to put in. Having said that, when I went to the Republicans in this area, and they said that's funny because we thought it was a Democratic setup as well. They are trying this African LGBT scenario, are trying to undercut what is the tree of life and what's being offered by the tree of life, and that comes out of Ephesus, and that's related to Haba and Artemis. So they are trying to discredit it. Hence, you had Hotel Artemis that was discrediting that. And then you had a few other Artemises come up. They were trying to discredit her there. And what happened is that on Friday, the Friday before the Tree of Life massacre, I called up and I said, this is what's going on. And I spoke to somebody. I'd actually tried calling them a few days in advance. And this is the woman who is the Democratic Republican who was the chairperson of the National, who's in Fort Lauderdale, in the Fort Lauderdale area. And I spoke with one of her aides, it's on my telephone, and I said, look, I want to tell you that I went up on the 27th in October 2016, when my information came out. The next day, that's when Comey came out and said that Hillary Clinton is still under investigation. I said, it has really nothing to do with President Trump. It was Barack Obama setting this whole thing up all along, and he set it up so that she would be impeached. The next day, the Tree of Life occurred. All right. When that happened, I thought, you son of a gun. You don't want me to be able to get this out, and you don't want me to say it lest it looks. And they did it on the 27th of October, just as I had done it 2 years earlier. So they had begun hitting me, and they didn't want me to get my case out because I was readying it then. So on the 31st, which is, of course, the day of Great Witchcraft, they broke into my car and stole my computer and everything out of it. Now, I want to tell you how this shows up with Barack Obama. When the Tree of Life went down, I said, hit them, Lord. Hit them and hit them hard and expose them. The next day, there was a little glitch in the 737. But right after that, the day after, the 737 MAX that went from Indonesia, and it was the Lion, again, like Barack Obama, and they have the sun behind it. The Lion was going on over. And as that was going down, the Lion was going down from Indonesia, I thought, I know that he lived there and supposedly he was adopted, and I know that his father sexually violated his mother, and I knew that she had to go off to Indonesia because nobody in the United States would deal with somebody who'd been a polygamist and all those other kinds of things. But I didn't really think about being Indonesia. I always thought about Kenya. Well, that's when I began looking into the birther and all that other kind of stuff. And that's when it said that because he was adopted by this man living in Indonesia, he had to become an Indonesian citizen. And he had never changed that citizenship, which is really odd. Then things began to come onto my system, and a lot of things. And I had a very strong LGBTQ attack, personal, showing up in my life and attacking me. These were people, real people, and I have them online. Okay. I've just had another one, not LGBTQ, but another issue come into my family. That's them. Um, so I have these things, and they have come in. Some of them have taken my phone. They've wiped things out. You can actually see the text message where the guy is agreeing to it. All kinds of stuff is going on. Okay. And I have it online. What happened then is that I put online, oh, so the plane went down. And then I realized that the towers that went down in England all happened on Trump's birthday for 2 years in a row. And I said, oh, that's Fire Trump. And they're talking about Trump Towers and the everything in New York City, 9/11. They're talking about all of that, but they're talking about Fire Trump. And literally, the United States is being held by ransom, as are other countries, to get rid of these entities, which is interesting. And they had also set up Hillary Clinton to be impeached. That's interesting too. They were going to make a Barack Obama and Meghan Markle look like the be all and all, and everybody else was supposed to look like crap, and that's what they were doing. The year that Hillary Clinton was running for office, Barack Obama, there were two movies that came out with Barack Obama. Everything was about Barack Obama. Everything was about Barack Obama. Then Meghan Markle came on the line. So on right before right before June the 14th of 2019, I went online and I said, listen now, there are no longer going to be any of these fires going on Trump's birthday. And I told them, knock it off. Then what happened is when I told Alan, who was one of their stalkers, and I'm homeless at that time, so I keep going to Panera in order to get my work done. When I tell Alan that I had mentioned about the 737 and how it went down right after I said, expose them, Lord, expose them. Within 6 hours, the Ethiopia to Kenya 737 MAX went down. And when the shooter came out in New Zealand, I looked at it and I said, you know what? If you're conservative and if you don't like Islamic people, you don't take vacations in Pakistan. This is a whole setup. It's an LGBTQ setup. They go into these places where the LGBTQ are not reigning everything, and they begin to set up and link up and deal with terrorism. And the Vatican and the Catholic Church is part of this. So it gets interesting. It gets really interesting. When I mentioned, I also told him that the Manchester bombings were a Barack Obama setup. I saw that. I caught that right away. Right after it happened, he goes and he preempts President Trump going to Europe, and he's seeing everybody before Trump gets a chance to see them. And there's a picture of him with Prince Harry, and Prince Harry looks extremely pensive. And there's Barack Obama with his very broad smile. And these people have just been massacred. As well, the Pulse in Orlando, he set that one up as well. I felt that. So what happened is as soon as that plane went down, within the next, on the 26th of March, then the plane going from Orlando, the 737 MAX going from Orlando to to LA, which is again a Barack Obama thing, that went down too. So we have the Lion of Judah, we have the Ethiopian movements, we have the Sudan, we have the Greater Africa, and we have the LGBTQ, and they have all embellished themselves. And there's a whole lot that's here. For instance, when Sarah Lantham, as soon as it came out that Meghan Markle had taken her on, with her false lumpy, bumpy pregnancies, they're here one day, it's gone the next, she's got masks, all kinds of things she's got going on. The baby, one day the baby looks like it's Chinese, the other one it looks like it has a bullet hole in its head. I mean, it's awful what showed up on People magazine. But in terms of the woman that showed up, I said, wow, she was in all those positions with Clinton, and she was with Barack Obama, and she was with Tony Blair, and she was with Freud, because I've been harassed by Freud's. And that man, Alan, who took my stuff, told me he liked Freud's, and wouldn't it be good if we could mind read? Yeah, all right. So as soon as she showed up on the thing, I said, she was in Clinton's campaign. She was in Mr. Clinton's office. The same time Monica Lewinsky was there. As soon as I put that online, the picture of in Epstein's house of Clinton in that blue dress showed up the next day. It's all online. And I said, I can't believe I'm saying that, but I think it was a Mossad setup. Sure enough, it showed right up the next day. When we deal with this other woman, Lantham, that's LGBTQ again, and she's helping to set up all these things again. The Rainbow Alliance, it's really funny because now the rainbow is going to go back to the Noahide, and the Noahide is about the 7 laws of Noah, which keeps you from being destroyed. Now, I put that out there, and I've been telling you about things like it, but this has already gone out there, so it's like you're going to get smacked. So that's what's happening. We have just gone into 2020. I told you, like 2011, it's a 4-year. All the hands went up. By the way, what happened is that the British made the deal with, or they had to make a deal due to blackmail with Obama. The dragon went up. Elon Musk, that's evil. He was planning then on the red dragon going to Mars. That's biblically evil. And the eager lion was announced in December. All these things happened in December. And the eager lion has a very similar motto to the Invictus that's out there that Prince Harry was involved in. They're all connected. And as soon as the eager lion went up, that is when, and as soon as it had its first practice, that's when the Arab Spring was going on. It gets really weird. I mean, the whole thing is tied in together because they have people that are trying to destabilize. If you want to get your way, that's how you destabilize. All right. They're using their Wi-Fi. They use everything they can out there. So let's go in and take a look at what is going on right now. And that is the Ukraine and the Iranian. I didn't call that plane to go down. Oh, by the way, the plane went down the same way I went down in church. Not this one in Iran. The plane went down for the MAX the same way I went down in church. On October the 7th, I went down at the church after they gave this completely false teaching on creation and marriage, and they ended it with the LGBTQ. I went up to the railing. My heart had hurt because of what was going on. And when I got up to the railing, I took the communion, I looked up, and I just dropped. As it turns out, there was nothing wrong with my heart, but it was though somebody turned the switch off. And when they turned the switch off, I could hear everything, but I just crumpled. And it was as though somebody just flicked my electrical switch for a moment. But my body had to reset itself, and in the process of resetting itself, I didn't have anything. And I'm pretty sure that that's what happened to the planes. I'm pretty sure that God just turned it off for a moment and then they reset themselves. And they couldn't reset themselves quickly enough, and they didn't even catch the glitch because they went down the same way I went down. When this thing happened with Iran and the plane was shot down, I said, that wasn't me. I didn't call that. I told my monitors and the powers that be, I said, I didn't call that one. They know I didn't call that one because they hear me when I say, God, hit them and hit them hard, and a hurricane comes out like Dorian. And you can see me ask for asylum online, and 5 days later you get hit with Dorian. I mean, you've got this 4 or 5 combination that goes nonstop with me. Anyway, to make a long story short, I didn't call that. And I said, but there is the possibility that the LGBTQ are confligulating. There's no such word. What's going on there? Because I had a feeling they had done something with the Ukraine. I caught Fiona Hill, and Fiona Hill has a penis. Okay. And he was there in the Ukraine. So I went online, and I want to show you what this looks like. I'm sorry this has taken so long, and I'm going to put it out there that I've done this. Let's come out of me. And they keep taking me offline, so we're going to go out of me. Are we online? We're not online. Let's go in and look at my pictures so that we have a little memory of what's going on here. Here's Fiona Hill. Where's Fiona Hill? There he is. I'm going to say he is. Now that kind of looks like a woman, maybe not like a woman. A lot of people think that also looks like a man, but you're going to see Fiona Hill just happens to have a penis. So how do you say that this person who dealt with the Ukraine, this is a very odd combination, and it's not what would normally be there. The husband, here the undies begin to turn out different. Okay. I know this is weird, but I already put this online so that you can see it. And this actually is a penis, and it's a little erect, folks. So when I saw this, I knew that this was really wrong. And that means everything about his testimony was wrong as well. I know that the LGBTQ have gone into countries that are not interested in having them. They are imposing themselves. The gay men and transgender men to women are taking over women's sports and women's position. Look, the federal government is having on its books that it's hired a woman for, even if it were affirmative action, that's a man who lied nonstop with a penis. No, we don't have penises. That's a man. That's the same picture of the supposed husband that's been flipped. Nothing's real. Okay, so let's go into the second shot. I'm going to show you something interesting. Where is it? Here we go. Judith Gao. She was, and this is a she was the ambassador in the Ukraine. Ukraine holds its biggest ever gay pride parade. Huge crowds, including Western diplomats. Western diplomats have marched through central Kiev for the city's annual gay pride parade. Authorities deployed a heavy police contingency. Now, gay marriage in that is not legal. They may have decriminalized it, but gay marriage in that is not legal. There has been a problem with the Ukrainian church and the Russian church. And recently, the Russian church put up, the Orthodox church said, why do you have a gay translator working with you? I mean, so anyway, why are Western diplomats marching with them. I'm just going to put us on pause for a moment. So this is here. This is here. I mean, the women don't have the right to be in their own sports. We don't have the right to do these things, and everything is being taken over. But the British ambassador is Judith Gow. Well, why is Judith Gow, I guess she's thanking them for this, but why would an ambassador be out marching? Why would they be out marching in a gay parade? I mean, and she is openly gay. Now she's in Sweden, and I'm sure part of the reason why she's in Sweden is to make sure the Swedes can't do anything, not just about gay people, but about getting rid of some of the Sudanese and the other people from Africa that are undermining their people. Here we go. This is her. So when we look at what's going on with Iran, and we're looking how they can confuse your Wi-Fi and all of your newses. I mean, why has nobody pointed out why Fiona Hill has a penis and that the entire testimony needs to be thrown out and how this is affecting women and women trying to advance themselves? Why are we not? Okay? So as we look at these things, one, if I'm in charge of a country, I'm not interested in my ambassadors going out and marching for private events that are making statements. They are there to represent my opinions of the country, of the chief head, in only formal political situations or to report on things that aren't happening. They are not there to march for whatever they want to be doing. Even if you were in some area, it is not up to you to go and march in those things. You congratulate these countries when they have an anniversary, you're involved in trade, you're involved in other things, but you're not marching in their gay parades or you're not marching in these other parades. That's a no-no. You don't do that. Mr. McCary, as it turns out now, the Brits are being hammered right this minute. The British ambassador for Iran, well, prior to being the British ambassador for Iran, he was working with the embassy in Kenya. Yeah. So there you go, folks. I think it's time for us to recall our embassies. And it's not the governments on the other side, oh, I need that information to go out to Iran. I know you're being attacked by the LGBTQ. They could have helped down your plane. They could be setting up things that are dealing in your country that are not really policy positions for either of you, for Mr. Trump. So their president should not need to step down. He should not need to step down, because what if there was an LGBTQ person that was in charge of monitoring those planes? Or if they flipped some switches regarding transmission? I'm telling the Iranian people right now, leave your president in place. Please. Okay, thank you. We're working on it. God bless.